The heat period is in full effect right now, and most poultry farmers are experiencing losses of bad performance, losses to bad production, and the most painful part is losses to mortalities. But some of these losses can easily be preventable, especially if you're open-minded as a farmer to adjust some certain things that you do in your farm, some certain things that are right that you are doing in your farm. This is the heat period, you have to adjust them. For instance, if you feed your birds wrongly this period, most of them will die, and for that reason I want to share with you in this video how to properly feed your birds this heat period to prevent such losses to mortalities, and the video is starting right now. Number one and the most important thing to do is to withdraw feed entirely from your birds during the hottest hour of the day. But in doing this, you need to consider the age of the birds. Let me explain. You know, feed goes through digestion inside the bird. You understand? During the process of this digestion, heat is generated, and this heat being generated internally is still heat. So imagine combining that heat being generated with the heat that is coming externally on the birds. That means the birds will be on fire. But there are a few exemptions to this. For instance, if your birds are still less than 2 weeks old, that means they're still being brooded, they can be exempted from this because they still need feed for 24 hours. For instance, these guys here are 10 days old today, so they are exempted because there is feed here and there is feed everywhere. But if your birds are 3 weeks old, it's advisable to withdraw the feed not more than 3 hours from them, because during the hottest part of the day, because if they stay off feed for more than 3 hours, it can trigger starvation, and when this happens, they will start losing weight. You don't want them to lose weight, so you should be more sensitive to the timing in this feed withdrawal. If they are 4 weeks old, they can afford to stay for 4 hours without feed, and their body will not trigger starvation signal. And then if they are 5 weeks, 6 weeks old, you can afford to keep them off feed for 5 hours. In doing this, you just have to target the hottest part of the time of the day. For instance, if your hottest time of the day is by, say, for me here, the hottest part of my day is by 1 p.m. You understand? So since it's by 1 p.m., what I normally do is to withdraw feed by 12, and then between that 12 and 1 is 1 hour, then 1 to 2 is the second hour, 2 to 3 is the third hour, 3 to 4 is the fourth hour, 5 to 6 is the fifth hour. So it depends on the age of the bird in particular. For instance, these guys here, are 34 days old today. For instance, these guys here are 38 days old today. That means they're they're heading to the 6th week. So for that reason, during the hottest part of the day, we withdraw feed from them for 5 hours. Although before now, if I had time and extra labor, now what I normally do is to make sure that I just suspend the feed, remove all the feeders from them. But right now that we are trying to minimize some certain things because cost of production have gone high, so labor have to go low so that we still have profit. What we do is to, in the morning when we are giving them feed, we put feed that we know that they will definitely finish this feed before 12 noon. Maybe the feed might exhaust before 11:30, and then we'll let them be. They will stay like that for 5 hours, and then towards the evening time, the sun must have gone down. And when that happens, we now reintroduce feed to them. Now, the second thing you can do to keep your birds alive when it comes to feeding this particular period is to adjust your feed formulation to meet up with their energy demand. For instance, the only thing you need to adjust is to adjust the carbohydrates in the feed and then replace it with protein. You understand? A bag of feed is 25 kg. So there is a quantity of carbohydrates that should be in the bag of the feed. Any amount of carbohydrates you remove from the feed, use protein source to replace it to make it meet up with that same 25 kg bag of feed. Now, if you are using commercial feed like us, you may not really bother yourself about these particular points. You understand? But the first point about withdrawal during the hottest part of the day is your best bet. But just be rest assured that most reputable feed millers know these points and they are applying it in their milling factories before you can be able to get those commercial feed. Now, the third thing you can do as a poultry farmer in the aspect of this feeding is concerns around water. You know, water is still part of nutrients, right? Anything you will do that will make the birds drink enough water this period, make sure that you do it. If it involves you supplying them enough water, do it this period. But please make sure that the water is fresh and cool. You understand? Because if you check around here now, see where the tank is. Most overhead tanks, it's overhead now. So you normally, I wish I can get this to be clear. Okay, let me go outside. It's called overhead tank for a reason. You understand? That means it's outside, overhead, and being touched directly by the sun. Directly, that means the water inside is getting warmer and hotter. What does that imply? It means that if you are, like for me here now, I'm using nipple drinker. If I'm allowing water to constantly flow directly from the tank to the poultry house, at this particular point in time, that is the hot time of the day, what I'm successfully doing is giving these birds warm water, and they don't need it. So what I normally do in the morning is to, as early as possible, when the tank and the content inside is cool, I take enough water, full it in the butters that I have over there, and then that's what they will be drinking. But sometimes, by way of, I don't know, heat transportation, either by convention or conduction, I don't know, at times you notice that the water coming out at times will be warm. You don't need your birds to be taking that kind of water. So most times what you do at that particular point in time is to go and repump water, so that fresh water will come out from the ground and replace all the hot water in the tank. And then finally, the next thing you need to do that involves their feeding this same period is to provide them with antioxidants and immune boosters. Antioxidants in the sense that there's something that is called free radical. Let me just explain it in the simplest way that I can do it under pressure. Free radicals are like unstable molecules in the body that destroys the cell. At times it makes the cells malfunction, at times it changes the shapes of the cell. And in human beings, free radicals most times is one of the things that causes cell malfunction that leads to cancer. Now, the birds also are animals, so they are humans in their own way, in their cheeky way. So for that reason, you need antioxidants that will neutralize these free radicals. Free radicals themselves are generated because of oxidative stress, because of stress. You understand? Now, the heat is a source of that stress that will trigger the free radicals to be formed in the body. So for that reason, you need antioxidants. Antioxidants, like you need the B complexes, you need the vitamin C's, you need the vitamin A, you need the vitamin D, you need the tocopherol, also known as vitamin E. And what they all do is just to counter and neutralize these free radicals. So these are the few things that you can just do as adjustment to your feeding to help you counter this heat stress. Now, if you want to know other things that you can do to counter heat stress, then watch the next video. The next video is just all about the management practices that you can adjust, not only feed. That's it for now, guys. See you in the next video.